Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be going over the top 5 best meta decks to use right now for Season 3 of Ranked in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Let's get into it. So, starting things off, the first deck that we're going to be taking a look at today is the Silvally Deck. This has taken the meta by storm. It is very much overperforming. I think it's like 65-66% win rate, which is absolutely ridiculous. That will go down eventually, but as of right now, it is just the deck to use. There are a lot of different deck profiles that you can run, but the best one at the moment is the Rampardos Silvally Deck. So this is all taken from Pokemon Zone, but the deck profile of this contains 1 Cranidos, 2 Rampardos, 2 Type Null, 2 Silvally, 1 Pokeball, 2 Rare Candy, 2 Gladion, 1 Iono, 1 Mars, 2 Professor Research, 1 Red, 1 Sabrina, and 2 School Fossils as well. So why this deck is so good is it's so quick, it does so much damage so early on in the game, and as well as that, there are no EX cards in this deck either. So you have to have 3 Pokemon get knocked out to lose the battle. So obviously a lot of positives. The only bad thing is obviously Silvally isn't good against anything because it's a normal type Pokemon, so you don't have the strength in the fact that you're going to do an extra plus 20 damage to something, but at the end of the day, it's not a terrible trade-off. So the whole point of this deck, basically, an awesome Pokemon as well as a potent attacker, Silvally makes a strong case for an inclusion in a variety of decks. So the profile of an on-rate stage 1 non-EX attacker for 2 energy is 70 damage, and around 70% of stage 1s have below the 110 HP Silvally possesses. So despite its stellar attack and health, it is one of 4 other stage 1s to have 1 retreat cost in addition to over 100 HP, making it an incredibly flexible attacker. Beyond the flexibility of its meager retreat cost, Silvally also poses a threat in that Gladion can threaten to both summon and power up Silvally without warning, allowing for a 100 damage combo provided Type Null had 1 energy placed on it the turn before, which is absolutely ridiculous because Gladion's ability allows you to basically put 1 random Type Null or Silvally from your deck into your hand, and then that also powers up Silvally's Brave Buddies, because if you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn, this attack does 50 more damage. So if you already have an energy on, you can then use Gladion's ability, find a Silvally, pop it on Type Null, pop another energy on, and you can hit 100 damage, which is absolutely ridiculous with how quick that is. And then when Silvally remains a rather steep investment, as most players will find it necessary to include 2 copies of Type Null, Silvally and Gladion, it is a self-contained package that indirectly offers increased deck turnover and additionally benefits from the high number of supporter cards the decks are inclined to bring, with no limitation to what kind of deck is played, in thanks to its normal needs. When partnered with a big basic EX, Silvally offers a counter to both the prolific Oricorio, as well as a resilient figure to repel. People are obviously just running Rampardos though, because it's just one of the best decks. It's just one of the best kind of evolution lines in the game right now because of Rare Candy. You can just pop it straight on from School Fossil, and obviously only needing 1 fighting energy is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not sure if Red is even the best kind of card to run anymore, because a lot of people just aren't running EXs. Obviously there's like Guzzlord EX, Buzzwole EX, you still got Darkrai, all that jazz, but a lot of people are running Silvally, so maybe you just want to get rid of Red and run a Giovanni. It's still a supporter card, so you're still going to get the boost for Silvally, but at the end of the day, Giovanni's going to be able to hit everything, whereas Red only hits EX cards. Yes, it is extra damage, but if nobody's really running EXs at the moment because of Silvally, then maybe it's just better to run Giovanni. And as well as that, there's no healing in this deck as well. There's no like Pokemon Center Lady. It's just because this deck is just so fast and does what it does best by hitting hard, hitting early. There's just not really much point of healing with Pokemon Center Lady. It could be beneficial, but it's obviously up to you. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's needed. And then obviously only 1 Pokeball in this deck as well, because Cranidos is, you know, stage 1, so Pokeball doesn't affect it. You're always going to start with a Type Null, so you only really need 1 to find the other one, because otherwise it just kind of bricks the deck a little bit. You could run 2 Pokeballs if needed, but I don't think it's a necessity. But yeah, this just is an absolutely ridiculous deck. You just set up Silvally as quick as possible, have Rampardos on your deck, support cards to boost up Silvally. It's just really good. And like I say, the win rate is just ridiculous with it right now. Again, that will come down, but as of right now, it's so good. There's also a Zeraora and Oricorio variant as well, if you wanted to run that, if you don't like Rampardos for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, I think the Rampardos deck is just so much better. But either way, that is the first meta deck that we're going to go over in today's video for Ranked Season 3 in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Coming up next, we have the Guzzlord EX Deck. So another brand new deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket from the latest expansion, Extra Dimensional Crisis. So the previously sole basic Dark Pokemon EX, Darkrai EX, made a huge impact on the TCG Pocket metagame, remaining a top threat even 4 months after release. Guzzlord EX now faces the challenge of living up to that standard. Thankfully, it has a strong case. So at 170 HP, it's the bulkiest basic Pokemon EX to date, surpassing the previous max of 150 HP. This puts it on par with some Stage 2 Pokemon EX and bulkier than most Stage 1s. And taking it down won't be easy or cheap. Its first attack, Grindcore, costs 2 colorless energy and deals 30 base damage, with a chance to discard energy from the opponent's active Pokemon on coin flips. It's basically a free Team Rocket. I mean, you could literally play that and then obviously play Team Rocket as well to have 2 chances of getting rid of some energy on your opponent's opposing Pokemon, which if you hit heads on both of those, that's like at least 2 energy, which is obviously really good. And then as well as that, similar to Team Rocket, Grunt's Portal, the Disruption can delay your opponent's strongest attack, buying Guzzlord even more time on the board. If left unchecked, it follows up with Tyrannical Hole, which hits for 120 damage at 3 dark and 1 colorless energy, the highest base damage of any dark Pokemon. As an Ultra Beast, Guzzlord EX also benefits from all related support. With 2 record-breaking stats in its category, the Voracious Pokemon is easily one of the most dangerous cards in Extra Dimensional Crisis. So the deck profile that you're running for this is 2 Nihilego, 2 Celesteela, 2 Poipole, 2 Naganadel, 2 Guzzlord EX, 2 Pokeballs, 1 Cyrus, 2 Lusamine, 2 Poison Barbs, 2 Professor Researchers, and then 1 Sabrina as well. And then also identifiable as the Dark Ultra Beast deck, it effectively runs all Dark Ultra Beast Pokemon with a Poison sub-theme. With Poison Barb, Guzzlord EX becomes an improved Druddigon thanks to Nihilego's more Poison ability that brings the Poison damage to 20 each turn instead of the regular 10. So like I say, have Guzzlord in the active spot, Poison Barb on it, Nihilego on your bench, which of course isn't an evolved Pokemon or anything, it's just a basic. You pop that on your bench, and then you're doing 20 damage from the poison every single turn, and that's any Pokemon that comes in and attacks you, it gets poison, which is very, very nice. And as well as that, if you had to like do a quick snipe or something, then you also have New Wave as well, which also poisons the opponent's Pokemon. And then as well as that, even 30 if you have 2 Nihilego on the field. Poipole and Naganadel are very good early game threats with their single energy attack, with the latter's attack Electro House also inflicting poison. Celesteela's Ultra Thruster makes possible to switch Pokemon accordingly while also being a tank in its own regard. So yeah, like I said, a lot of these Ultra Beast cards are really just there to benefit Guzzlord, but this is your main attacker. It's the main damage dealer, and you're also dwindling down your opponent's Pokemon with the poison damage. And as well as that, you have cards like Lusamine, you know, choose one of your Ultra Beasts, attach 2 random energy from your discard pile onto that Pokemon, so you could just be setting, you know, if you do lose Guzzlord and then you pop another one in, you play Lusamine, you get some energy from the discard pile, and then pop that onto your Guzzlord so you can set that new one up even quicker. So yeah, it's just a very nice deck with what it does. Again, potentially brickable because obviously there's so many Pokemon that you could start this the duel with. You could start with a Nihilego, you could start with a Celesteela, you could start with Poipole, you could start with Guzzlord. So if you are looking for Guzzlord straight off the bat, which is kind of what you want, you've only got a 1 in 4 chance every single time of finding that in your first hand. But at the end of the day, it's still a very good deck. I really like it. I don't have 2 Guzzlord EXs though, unfortunately, so I can't run this deck myself. But if you do, then it's definitely one to look at for ranked in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Coming up next, we have the Buzzwole EX deck. So the deck profile for this new deck is 2 Pheromosa, 2 Celesteela, 1 Katana, 2 Buzzwole EX, 2 Pokeballs, 1 Cyrus, 2 Erica, 1 Guzma, 2 Leaf Capes, 2 Lusamine, 1 Mars, and 2 Professor Research as well. So Grass's long search for what made other types strong, a strong basic Pokemon EX. The unreliable Celebi EX had its moment in the early Pocket era, but its powerful Bloom attack was too inconsistent for an evolving metagame with faster pacing. Buzzwole EX might finally be the basic Pokemon EX that Grass decks needed to break through. It starts with a straightforward punch attack that deals 30 damage for 2 colorless energy. Its second move, Big Beat, hits for 120 damage at the cost of 2 grass and 1 colorless energy. Combine these attacks, deal 150 damage over 2 turns, enough to KO nearly every basic Pokemon EX that doesn't get healed or boosted by an HP enhancing tool. Big Beat in particular has damage only been seen before at Yamega EX among all other grass types, and Buzzwole EX does it without needing to evolve. Buzzwole EX's base 140 HP becomes much more durable thanks to the Grass's tool Leaf Cape to increase HP and Erica to heal damage, making it a frustrating threat to remove. On top of that, as an Ultra Beast, Buzzwole EX benefits from all the support in Extra Dimensional Crisis. With Lusamine, it powers up faster. With Celesteela's Ultra Thrusters, it can switch out after attacking by replaced by a low retreat Ultra Beast, then switch back in and retreat and reset its Big Beat for another strike. With Beastite, it can increase its damage. The buff Pokemon might bring an entirely new viable way to play a grass deck. So yeah, exactly what it says on the tin really. It's very much Buzzwole's kind of party, dealing damage with it, rapid. You've got extra kind of benefits to it as well, like the Leaf Cape giving grass types 30 HP, so that puts it up to 170. And then you have Erica that can heal it for 50 every single turn, which is just absolutely busted. And then as well as that, you also have the benefits from the other Ultra Beasts as well. It's just a very nice deck. And again, grass decks have been all rightish over the course of the kind of meta. They've mainly been stall decks with Ericas and Executors and stuff like that, especially with Leaf Capes. But now with Buzzwole being able to have a high HP stat and also dealing heavy damage as well is also really, really nice. So big fan of this deck. And as well as that, grass type is the one with the biggest number of basic Pokemon among Ultra Beasts. Most of them, like Katana and Pheromosa, are very aggressive beaters, perfect for a strong start into a later Buzzwole EX. To have the most appropriate one, Celesteela's ability makes sure you can switch them at will. Since Katana and Pheromosa only have a single retreat cost, you can very easily use Buzzwole EX's big beat back to back after using Ultra Thruster. Celesteela can be used as a sandbag while you prepare for Buzzwole's EX. A limit can be used to bring it back to your hand to deny that opponent a potential knockout. So there's definitely ways around this, but again, these are all tournament decks as well that have done very well. Like, these aren't just random decks that, you know, Pokemon Zone have put together. They've all done very, very well. But anyway, that is the Buzzwole EX deck for Pokemon TCG Pocket. Coming up next, we've just got a couple of quick decks to go over, ones that aren't brand new decks, but they are still viable in the meta. I'm not going to go over Darkrai and Giratina because I feel like I've gone over it in every single video because it's still in the meta. Everybody knows the Darkrai and Giratina deck from now on, so you don't really need me to go over that every time. Again, one of the decks that's still doing very well, though, is Solgaleo EX. We've been over it before, but basically the deck profile is 2 Skarmory, 2 Cosmog, 1 Cosmoem, 2 Solgaleo EX, 2 Pokeballs, 2 Rare Candies, Cyrus, 2 Giant Capes, 1 Mars, 1 Poison Barb, 2 Professor Research, 1 Rocky Helmet, and 1 Sabrina. And again, the whole point of this deck is obviously just to get Solgaleo out as soon as possible. A lot of people do run Lily in this deck. There's no Lily in this deck. This is a tournament deck that went 12-0, and with that was without a Lily, so just not enough healing in this deck, obviously, but at the end of the day, it still works very, very well if you play it well. But yeah, we've already been over it on a previous video, so I don't need to go over it loads. But yeah, Skarmory is basically in your active spot, dealing 50 damage with a tool, and then obviously with the addition of like Poison Barb, they can also get poisoned, so that's even more damage. And as whilst you're doing that, you're just obviously setting up Cosmoem, Solgaleo on your bench, and then once that is set up for 2 Steel Energy, you can then bring it in and start dishing out loads of damage. You can heal it with maybe Giant Cape, or you can make it even more of a bit of a nuisance threat with Rocky Helmet stuff. But again, all the tools are mainly for your Skarmory, but yeah, basically exactly what it says on the tin. You can run the Excadrill variant as well, but nothing crazy there. Solgaleo EX pairs with the most aggressive basic steel Pokemon available. Skarmory puts the pressure early with Metal Arms, hitting for 50 damage, and then later makes its way for Solgaleo EX to deliver 170 total damage over 2 turns. So yeah, pretty much don't really need to explain it too much. You kind of know what this deck is. Finishing things off, another deck that we've already gone over in the past, but still doing very, very well in the current meta, is the Rampardos Lycanroc variant. So the deck profile of this is 1 Cranidos, 2 Rampardos, 2 Rockruff, 2 Lycanroc, Pokeball, Pokemon Communication, 2 Rare Candy, Cyrus, Giant Cape, Iono, 2 Professor Research, 1 Red, 1 Sabrina, 2 School Fossils as well. And just a quick rundown of this deck is the basic Pokemon of choice in this variant is Rockruff, whose Sign of Evolution attack guarantees to add a Lycanroc from your deck to your hand. While you can choose between the midday and midnight forms, the latter is preferred, not only because it can attack on curve when going second, but also due to the strong damage output of Bloodfang. This attack deals 50 damage or 100 if the opposing Pokemon has more HP remaining than Lycanroc. This forces the opponent to carefully manage HP totals, potentially avoiding playing tools like Giant Cape, and to be mindful of how much damage to deal to Rockruff and Lycanroc, as if either is left at low HP, they can strike back with devastating force. The main appeal of this version is consistency. You're guaranteed to open Rockruff and to have a Lycanroc in hand by the end of turn 2. There's also no EXs in this deck as well, so you have to have 3 Pokemon get knocked out before you lose the duel. It's also very fast paced, does a lot of damage. Rampardos is in this deck, so you always know it's going to be dealing a lot of damage for only 1 fighting energy. Again, with the Rampardos, even if you're not drawing it, you just pop 1 energy on that School Fossil, and then that's basically complete. And then when you find that Rare Candy or you find the Rampardos or whatever, you can just literally set it up super quick. So very, very beneficial card right now. Again, it does a lot of damage to itself, but because there's no EXs, you can easily set up 2 Rampardos pretty quickly with Rare Candy nowadays. And then the rest of the cards are just kind of in preparation for that, such as Professor Research to find more cards. Iono if you just get a really bad starting hand. Giant Cape's useful. Red for EX cards. Again, potentially better off to use Giovanni now, just simply because a lot of decks are not running EX at the moment. There's a lot of Rampardos decks, Silvally decks out there, so maybe Giovanni's a better option, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. But just a quick rundown of another deck that's still doing very well in the meta, but obviously we've already been over it in the past. But that's everything for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider leaving a like down below. Let's try and hit 100 likes. It does really help out the video and the channel. Leave a comment. What deck are you using in ranked for this season in Pokemon TCG Pocket? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching though. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.